watching the video, feeling the atmosphere, the environment, it was terrific. And now we got to take what we did in the final 15 minutes probably of both halves and just try and do 40 minutes. We're going to need all 40 to beat Penn State. If you've been following their scores right now, they're really tight with everybody. I mean, everybody. I don't know if anybody's playing better than Purdue is right now. And they had a chance to win that. They had a chance to win at Iowa. They had a chance to win at Ohio State. Hit two like a bunny and like a basket that was scored. They probably would have won it, but they went to the monitor. They didn't get it. So they're really playing well. The record just doesn't show it. So we're going to have our hands full in 8:30 game, long day in State College, and we're going to go in there and try to come back with a victory. So it's important if we're going to compete for the Big Ten championship, we got to win, every game that we can win. And Penn State is not easy for anybody. So it's going to be a tough game, and we're going to be as prepared as we can be.
Jacob?
John Charles with I think the 5-minute stretch against Rutgers in the first half, and then the second half against Wisconsin. What's the key for him to just get that consistency over a full game?
Yeah, if you watch those clips there's a lot of confidence involved in him just believing in himself in those situations. I think sometimes he's trying not to miss. And if anybody remembers a few games that we had this year that he was 4 or 5 feet from the basket, couldn't throw it in, and he can do that. And so just, take your time, find the seams, shoot on the way up, don't shoot on the way down, don't try and draw a foul, just explode to the rim. And I was thinking this morning about it because I was thinking he had so many walks and charges last year. The way to stop that is to slow down. And he probably slowed down too much by trying to, go up and hang in the air and avoid a charge. So that's gotten his way a little bit.
Andrew?
I got a question about halftime adjustments. If you could give me some insight into assessing what happened, discussing it with your staff, and then telling your players in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we have it really down to it's very scripted. That we go into halftime, we get 15 minutes. By the time I walk in there, it's probably 14:30. I'll always go address the team, ask for some quick observations, tell them whatever happened, like the first thing and end. I just told them to call timeout, and I put it on me. I should have called timeout with 4.3, and we got to do that next time. And then we just talked. Any issues? What do you have? And then I go talk with the assistants for 5 minutes, and then I come right back in at the 10-minute mark, and then we talk for about 4.5 minutes. And the assistants have it, and there is never, one out of 50 times I get in there and it's like fire and brimstone. We got to play harder, we got to do this. It's usually just very technical of instruction of what we have to do, and that's how it goes. And get done with that, and I walk out on the court, and I got 3 or 4 plays in my head that my assistants are talking about, and defensively what they're going to run, and then that's what it is every time. It's not very complicated.
And then I guess,
You look at the stats, I'll look at the stats, and I'll get deflection numbers, I'll get points in the paint, defensive OER, DER, that's all coming into my ears in that other 5 minutes.
And then you've obviously got the media stoppages though throughout. I mean,
Yeah.
Say like the under 12 or the under 8, where you've seen the game now for I don't know 7, 8 minutes, whatever. Like, how is that different in those timeouts? I know you only have a couple minutes.
I was surprised. With the Fox time, the TV's time, the timeouts were a little longer.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, you got to tell me about that next time. Because they were like CBS TV, right? So I got caught twice sending our guys out there just because your body clock sort of tells me that it's time to get them out, and we already had the one warning. So a couple times my guys were out there, and I was looking at them and said, "Why did I send them out so early? Get a new SID."
One there.
Who's next? Go ahead, Orion.
John, it seemed like you guys got a lot of open shots yesterday. Your thoughts on how smooth the offense looked? Maybe more smooth?
Yeah, we got more open shots in that game than we did in Madison, and then we just had a bunch of not go. I mean, really, and so it's. I thought Iggy took some better shots, and Xavier only took 1 3, and I thought that was going to go in, and so it was just one of those games where we just couldn't make a shot. I thought in Madison it had a lot to do with their defense. I thought this time we just missed them, and we missed some pretty good open looks, and they made some tough ones.
And then typically around this time of year, start to find another level in play, how key is improving offense when it comes to finding that next level?
Yeah, I hope we can do what we've been doing the last couple of years, because it could really be a good year if we can do that. But that's the focus in practice right now, is to just try to find, some holes in everybody's game that we're trying to improve a little bit, and then strengthen the areas we think they're strong in right now. I think last time I said John's balance has been, you just think he's gonna get it, and then we've seen pretty well the last couple of games was much better balance in some situations. So that's what we hope if we continue to improve, we get a chance to be in that championship hunt for the Big Ten.
Aria?
John, Iggy kind of struggled a lot in both of the Wisconsin games. You said he took some better shots yesterday,
Yeah.
but was there anything particular that Wisconsin did that kept
Well, they had
him
6'10" guy on them, and then that was one of them, and then they were much better at guarding our action where we try to get him open than some other teams have. That they're so sound defensively, they don't make a lot of some of the mistakes other teams have. And that's it. He's got to have to earn to get his. He's playing the first year of college. Ethan Happ's been guarding stuff like that for 5 years, so he's a little bit ahead of him there. Eventually, Iggy will catch up.
So is there anything you're trying to do with him to get him to?
Hope we play dumber teams in the future, ones that we can trick. You only got 5 guys. You're trying to trying to do different things. Yeah, certainly. I'm trying to get every guy to play to his strengths, but I'm way overpaid if I'm not doing things to try and get them open. But I'm not telling you. We're working at it. Okay. Just if I tell you, then I'm telling Pat Chambers. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Yes, who is it?
Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
John, I know you said on Friday, Brandon's development has been baby steps. I know he didn't get to play a ton on Saturday, but just going up against Happ and Reavers, what do you see out of him? What can he?
It was only, it was 2 minutes. It's the things that we're seeing every day. We're seeing baby steps. That's all we're seeing. And it is, as the year goes on, he's making steps. As the year goes on, the experienced players are still, they don't become stagnant. They're getting better. So the freshmen are always playing catch up. They're playing catch up the whole year. You're never there. You go to the NBA, you're not there. There's the KG veterans are gonna wear you out with stuff. So it's a race to try and close that gap. And he's closing the gap. But in the meantime, right, we're trying to win games too. The annual, or the weekly Brandon Johns question. All right, good. I love the kid though.
John, Xavier and John seem to have a really good chemistry on the court. How important is that to have a good on-court relationship chemistry between the 1 and the 5 positions?
Yeah, it is, especially, the difference in who they are. You probably never heard of Billy Caldwell and Bob Lanier, but they played at St. Bonaventure, and they were like this. Billy was this little guy about 5'10", and Bob was here, and they were like great friends. And you see it, like, came in the same class together, a little bit under-recruited guys that were, came in with a little edge about them that, a lot of people doubted whether they maybe could play at Michigan, right, or play at either one of them. And I just love the way they work together. And they really have a great just feel for each other. Xavier's now got 135 assists, 35 turnovers, or 120, I don't know, it's 100, he's got 100 more than he has turnovers. John is one of the best, analytically, he's one of the best pick and roll players, finishers in the country. And he's got many more, doesn't have a lot of assists, but he doesn't have hardly any turnovers, so the two of them really work together well.
When Mo left, did you expect them to have this as good of a relationship?
I don't expect anything, I just want him to be good. He's really done well, he's done well. I was encouraged that he wouldn't dunk some of these alley-oops he's getting right now last year. They would have been, oh man, my bad, I just missed it. He spent the whole summer with Camp Sanderson. That's just 1 or 2 inches of vertical jump, made a big difference. Thank you.
James?
Sticking with Xavier, he
Yeah.
has the Big Ten and assist turnover ratio.
Yeah.
I guess, how much different is he seeing the floor, this year?
Oh, man, that was the big thing in his freshman year, why he did not start last year. There was this one extra dribble, there was this little delay that he wasn't just making simple plays. It was the guy who can go to the major leagues and be a singles hitter was trying to hit home runs all the time, and it was really getting in his way. And once he started to appreciate how effective he can do by doing less and just hitting the open man. And that's why his number is like the way it is right now.
You talk about maybe some player there, maybe any passes or plays that stand out that he's like making more consistently?
No, it's the ones that are so simple that they don't stand out, but they just, you know, by hitting, you know, you can be on a fast break and you can come down and you can hit Jordan Poole at 25 feet, or you can just wait for him and take one more step and hit him at 21. Because we don't want him to have to dribble. So that recognition, where he used to do that all the time, he'd just see an open man hit it, and the guy was 28 feet from the basket. Now he's got to dribble in for a three. He's that little feel that probably a lot of people wouldn't appreciate. He understands. And then the pick and roll game, whether he's seeing he's got to see through. He's got to look at the basket. You got to see the roll guy. He's got to see the opposite corner. He's got to see the guy trailing up behind. Those. He's looking at 3 things. Actually, you can see this guy over here too. 4 things you got to look at one time. And he's nobody's perfect at it, but he's getting really exceptional right now at making the smart decision.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
on the extra time on the timeouts, X spent a lot of time talking to Terry Weimer, and I sort of wonder if you had any, Weimer seemed amused by it, but I wonder, was that something you had told him to talk to Weimer
No.
about, or just, they're just gibberish?
No, there was a couple of plays that were that maybe he was just getting his own interpretation. I think he's going to be. I have no question he's going to want to coach someday. You should see him in our camps. I mean, he's the best coach if a kid has him as their coaching camps. I mean, he's all in, and so I think that he's got a high interest in the game and what he can do to learn as much as he can, including why officials make certain calls.
Connected, perhaps, is last week you seemed to say that you preferred the evolution of refereeing in the game, calling things a little more closely. But in this game, they let a lot of the small stuff go. And isn't that really more in tune with a six and a half guy rotation, letting letting small stuff go and calling bigger
Well,
things?
yeah, I think what you may think are small things,
Okay.
it's, this is a very small thing and it won't get called. This is a very small thing and will get called. And it's got the same amount of impact. You like that. If you're like this or you're like this, very small things, there's a difference. So you might say, hey, they're not calling him at the other end because, and we only had his hand on him, but we might have had that for, if 2 hands, that's automatic, right? So there's just little techniques that we have to teach them. This is what they're not going to call this, but they're going to call this. And Wisconsin's great at it. They understand it as well. So getting your players to understand it. Freshmen don't understand it, right? It takes them a while. The high school game is much more physical. I go watch them and they're beating each other up and there's no calls because that's not the point of emphasis that there is in the pros and the college.
Thanks.
Yep.
Brendan?
John, for all the talk about kind of multiple hunters this year and that
Yeah.
kind of conversation, what's the evolution been on letting those guys hunt, get their shots up, things like that, versus when you identify something in a game that you know can work on multiple sets,
Right.
whether it's a pick and pop
Yeah.
or something, yeah, relying on that, but then also having these guys do their thing. Like,
Yeah.
when do you tell guys, okay, you're done shooting, we're running this?
I don't tell anybody they're done shooting because they get wacko if I do that. I basically am looking for how the team is guarding us and what's the best action we run. And then if we're running things for certain people and it's not getting done, say either it's not his day or we're underrating his defender or their defense. So now we go to moves like we moved to the side pick and roll late in that game because we were getting the spots we weren't getting with any of the high pick and roll. And so, but we didn't go into the game thinking we were going to do that now. We thought that was maybe difficult. We had some things we wanted to do, but we thought maybe we could attack Hap with Iggy a little bit. That didn't work very well. We thought maybe we could get some different action going, and we couldn't get it going. And so, and we had some really good shots that didn't go down as well. So I wish I could tell you I was smart enough to have a science to it. This is seat of the pants, thousands of games coached that you sort of try and figure out what's the next right play to call with the team.
With your experienced guys, so a guy like Charles,
Yeah.
in that side, screen action, stuff like that? Is that something that he is picking up and saying, I got this, or is that coming mainly from the coaches on any given day, your more experienced
I mean,
guys
we
on
work
the
at
ice?
it all the time, but we don't just, we don't say, hey, do you think you can take him or do whatever? We're just gonna say, let's go do it, and he scored, so then we kept milking it. We gave different action the same ending result. We move people around, and there'll be either 2 on a side, 3 on a side, 1 on a side, but we give them a different look before we do that. And then they gotta figure it out. And so he was really good at just attacking 2-on-1 and trying to see what he had. So, but we'll just call a play that I feel, or that Coach Haynes feels will work, and then we just do it. And if it works, then we don't necessarily milk the same play as much as milk the same action.
Jacob, you want to close?
Yeah. Eli Brooks, I think he has gone scoreless in his last 4 games. What do you emphasize he's getting him back on track?
Well, he had 2 assists the other day, and he had 2 assists again in very limited action. So I'm second guessing why I'm not playing him more. But I think because I got so much belief in Eli, or in Xavier and Jordan right now. But I just don't look what is he doing with scoring, right? I do remind him that he averaged 30 points a game at Spring Grove in his high school. You average 30, people pack the gyms to watch you score. And his 6 threes in our little scrimmage yesterday. So he's just got to feel it, but if he doesn't feel he's turning down open jump shots, I don't want him to shoot them if he doesn't feel he can make them. And obviously if you feel he can make them, you're going to shoot. So all I can do is hopefully his next shot's going in, and that will help him a lot. But his defense is outstanding, and like I said, he's got 2 assists. If you prorated that, he would have had 25 assists or something. So he sees the floor. He makes us better when he's in there, but don't judge it on his scoring.
Is that kind of the role you want out of him, out of the 7?
No, I'd love to see him pull up and shoot jump shots. I like him out there just knocking down jump shots all the time, right? I would love to see him be able to do it, come off a ball screen and rise up and shoot it in. That's not his personality right now, and we're trying to get that out of him and make plays for others, but we need him to shoot the ball too. And because a lot of, whether he's a point guard or off guard, it just helps if he's more of a threat. But if he's not comfortable with that, we'll take his minutes. But for him to get a lot more minutes, we want him to shoot more. Obviously, we need him to make them more too.
Good. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.